So let's get started. I will begin with a short introduction of Sonum International and myself. Then I will give our point of view on integrated business planning. An important aspect of integrated business planning is fact-based planning, using facts to create more meaningful plans. To show you how this could be realized, we developed a demo model within Anaplan, based on a real customer model. At the end, we will wrap up with the added value of fact-based planning and the questions posted by you. And we honestly hope that there will be some questions at the end. So please feel free to post them also during the session. Sonum International was founded 4 years ago in 2010. We are focused on integrated business planning. Our mission is to create truly value-adding planning solutions. So get rid of non-value-adding activities and start aligning the planning process with the business processes within your organization. Technology is, in our point of view, a key enabler to improve planning, budgeting and forecasting processes. Together with our customers, we select, implement and improve software solutions to realize the full potential for their business. We use our planning and budgeting maturity model to help customers to improve their processes in manageable steps. Our aim is to realize planning and forecasting solutions with less effort and more impact. To give you an idea of who's on the other side of the line, a short introduction about myself. My name is Maud Vermeulen and I have over 15 years of experience in the field of planning and budgeting, working primarily for international organizations. My main focus is integrated business planning and integrated performance management. For me, the most important thing is to support the business by aligning the planning processes with the business processes. For large organizations, this often means that tooling is needed to support these processes. I have been supporting customers with different planning solutions over the years. At the bottom of the page, there's a selection of customers I've worked for. Looking at the topic of this webinar, fact-based planning, I think it's extremely interesting for consumer goods companies, retailers, or companies that have a large number of products or a large customer base, because that is where fact-based planning can add value by decreasing the time spent to come to a good forecast and increasing the predictability. There are two ways to react to uncertainty in the market and improve performance. First one is to decrease lead times so changes in the market can still be taken into account and production can be adjusted accordingly. And second, increase the predictability of your business by creating more reliable plans. Today we will focus on how to increase the predictability of your business. Integrated business planning supports increased predictability. It's a combination of integrating the different functions, so the different people within the organization, and letting them share information. And the second part is to utilize different data sources within the organization. Plans become much more realistic if they are based on facts, with the possibility to calculate different scenarios. This diagram is a simplified representation of the brand profitability plan at a brewery. The yellow blocks are parameters filled by the different planners involved in the planning process. The gray blocks represent facts, so information that's already available within the organization, like prices, recipes or bill of material, distances, etc. And the blue blocks are results of calculation mechanisms within the planning solution. Sales volumes planned by the sales reps are based on information about competitors, planned promotions, etc. And these sales volumes combined with information on production capacity result in the production location planning. The volumes from this production plan can be translated into the needed material volumes based on the bill of material available within the model. To calculate raw packaging and auxiliary material volumes, is important for the purchasing manager. It is important that the needed information is made available at the correct level of detail, so to the planners within the company. So instead of asking the purchasing manager how much money he is going to spend, he is asked what price he would be able to negotiate if 2 million kilograms of hop needs to be purchased for a certain location. Negotiating contracts is his expertise, not filling the P&L over and over again. This method of integrated planning will also enable the use of scenarios and support calculating the impact if, for example, a certain packaging material is replaced by a cheaper material. Or if, for example, the sales volume is changed slightly or shifted from one SKU to another. The model will be able to recalculate the impact on the contribution margin without the need to involve all planners. Involving the planners is only needed if there are major changes that also might impact the contracts negotiated by the purchasing manager. Developing a dynamic model provides the possibility to apply drivers on the facts available. For example, price increases on a brand level. A good model can handle drivers on different levels, so manual input is reduced to the minimum. And the focus can be on the most important aspects of your business. So by combining facts like recipes, bill of material, distances, with drivers set by the business, more flexible and reliable forecasts will become available. So why don't companies around the world use this methodology of integrating facts within their planning processes? Looking at the integrated business planning framework, it is obviously that data at different levels needs to be combined: operational, business and strategic level information. The operational layer contains detailed fact-based information. For example, the bill of material, selling conditions per customer and SKU, current sales prices and production capacity. Why isn't this information used in most of the business planning models? There's one simple reason. Traditional business planning solutions like SAP BPC, Cognos Planning, Hyperion Planning aren't able to handle large volumes of data without losing on performance. So there's always a trade-off between performance versus detail, and in most cases detail loses. Nowadays, new generation tools are available based on in-memory calculations, allowing multiple models to interact in real time and being able to handle large volumes of data. As said before, I believe that technology is a strong enabler for enhancing planning processes. Over the last 15 years, Sonam consultants supported organizations by implementing different technologies. And we are always looking for new solutions that are mature enough to meet your business, IT and financial requirements. And Anaplan is one of those solutions in our opinion. Anaplan provides in-memory business modeling and planning in the cloud. Within traditional planning tools, it can be difficult to integrate detailed information into your planning and forecasting processes. The powerful in-memory database of the Anaplan platform allows you to capture large quantities of data. It enables companies to manage volume, complexity, and collaboration in real time. Next to that, it is extremely user-friendly. With built-in intelligence, scripting is no longer necessary. It enables the business and finance to take control over their own planning processes without having to wait for consultants or IT to implement the needed functionality. Anaplan is completely cloud-based, so it's ready to use. Sonam is reviewing different tools on a regular basis. We only want to offer new solutions to our customers after we can be sure it can deliver the functionality needed. In Anaplan, we rebuilt a model we already had built using SAP BPC. The performance in the model in BPC was poor. Recalculating the P&L took at least 1 hour. Building exactly the same model in Anaplan showed that the impact of an adjustment was available in real time in the P&L. And that was only one of the advantages. Rebuilding the model in Anaplan took only 3 days, while it took over 1 month to develop it in BPC. The demo model is based on a gross margin model for a fast-moving consumer goods company and contains a lot of data. It provides gross margin results on product and customer level. Using facts within your budgeting and forecasting processes can decrease the amount of manual input and the amount of errors and increase the accuracy. By providing possibilities to simulate on these facts, the model brings together the best of two worlds. High-level assumptions applied on facts, so the detail is available without having the obligation to plan everything on a detailed level. The facts used in this demo model are actual volumes, sales prices, recipes or the bill of material, and selling conditions on the level of customer and SKU. These facts are often maintained in the organization's ERP system and can be used in your planning process, if the same level of detail is available in the planning tool. In traditional tools, the detail often is left out because of performance reasons, and someone has come up with average selling conditions for a group of customers or products. This is often a time-consuming task based on a lot of assumptions. Since facts only refer to the past, it's important that new insights can be integrated in the planning process, being able to simulate on the facts, taking into account, for example, volume adjustments, increases or decreases of prices, and adjustments of material prices. So let's see how that works in Anaplan. Since Anaplan is a cloud-based solution, the only thing needed is access to the internet. The Anaplan homepage provides information about Anaplan, like any other website, but also provides the possibility to log on to the community, to share information with other users and Anaplan experts, or to log on to the planning and modeling environments. After logging on, the models available are shown. In our case, we want to get directed to the gross margin model. Please feel free to ask questions during this demo. If needed, I can unmute you. The starting point is often a landing page with a dashboard that contains information that's relevant to the user that logs on. So every user group can have a different landing page. The starting point of this demo is that the actual data for the last month, which is April in this case, has been loaded, both volumes as well as financial data. In this overview of the volumes, you can see that the actual data is available until April. And if we go to the forecast, we will see that January, February, and March have actual data, and April until December are still adjustable. We can see that because of the blue arrows, which means that there's break-back functionality available. To update the forecast scenario with the latest actuals, a simple action needs to be performed by updating the settings of the versions. So let's do this together. If we go to the settings, we go to the versions, and we see that we have an actual, a forecast, and a budget scenario, and a variance scenario. If we change the switch over month of the forecast from April until May, all data is copied from the actual scenario to the forecast scenario for the first 4 months. If we go back to the volumes, we will see that indeed April has been updated with actual data. So that's how easy it is to update your forecast with your actual data. As indicated, the blue arrows show there's breakback functionality available. Breakback means that it's possible to adjust data on an aggregated level and push it to the detailed level based on the relative spread of the current data. The forecast is now based on 4 months of actuals and 8 months of forecast data. The volumes in the volume screen, the volumes can be adjusted both on the lowest level by selecting customer and a kind of volume type, or on a subtotal level. So let's start first with updating the volume on an aggregated level. So for example, if we want to upgrade the complete sub-brand of ZEP Premium NRB, and we want to change the year total volume from 13,700 to, for example, 16,000, if we enter the data or enter this number, it will be spread automatically to the lowest level of detail. And this happens on the fly. So all the numbers below the ZEP Premium NRB are updated at this moment, also for the customers that sell this beer. Sometimes it's needed that some data is not updated, although you still want to update data on a higher level. So for example, if we want to say, okay, the 4-pack we don't want to change, we can say hold this, which means that the data will not be updated if we use the breakback functionality. Another possibility is to put a hold on a month. So for example, say, okay, May is already based on orders we have placed, so we don't want to update these volumes during the forecasting and simulation anymore. So we can also put a hold on, for example, May. If we now change the data on ZEP Premium NRB level to, for example, 20,000 cartons, we will see that all data will be impacted except the data for the 4-pack and the data from January until May, because the actual data will never be impacted by these calculations. At this moment, all data is recalculated again. Now we did some assumptions on a high level. So we made some assumptions for brands for all the customers within the organization that are delivered by the organization. But it's also possible to adjust on the lowest level of detail. So we select one client for the base volume, and we can see that blue numbers come up. The blue numbers mean that it's the lowest level of detail, and they can be updated also. At this moment, the data is entered and it's immediately aggregated to the highest level. Behind the scenes, which we will see later, also the P&L is updated accordingly in real time. If, for example, from a certain period of time on, all the a certain SKU is taken out of isn't sold anymore for a certain reason, it's easy to delete all the data at once. So for example, we say the complete portfolio of ZEP Premium non-returnable bottles is not sold anymore from October 2014 on. And we will see that immediately all the data will disappear, also for the lower levels, but also, for example, on the customer level. So on all levels, the data is updated accordingly. I see that we have 2 questions. I will see if we can answer them immediately. One moment. Why did we use Anaplan to build this demonstration? Yeah, first of all, we try more solutions every year because we are interested in solving planning and forecasting issues for customers. And for us, it doesn't really matter with what kind of tool we do it, but we want to be able to offer the clients the best tools available in the market at this moment. And we often see clients that have, for example, a certain policy, and they only want tools from one brand or from one provider. But yeah, we think it's also important to look at other tools available in the market. And in this case, when we rebuild the model, which is a real-life model for one of our clients, we found out that there are a lot of advantages of using Anaplan for modeling and business planning. I hope this answered your question. Yeah, and the other question is, why do we use it facts? Yeah, I want to make the distinction between facts and drivers, for example. For me, the drivers, everything can be a driver, number of kilometers and everything. But what I want to emphasize is that we use facts that are available, for example, in an ERP system. So it's not something people make up, but it's data that's available in an ERP system that we want to reuse in our planning system. Yeah? Okay, I will continue with the demo. If there are more questions, I will try to answer them as quickly as possible. Okay, if we go now to one of the cells that we have updated, we can also see, going to the data, the history. So there's also, oh, this one doesn't work, but there's also a tracking and tracing functionality within Anaplan. Now, I think something went wrong. And another functionality that's available within Anaplan is that, for example, you can set back the model to a certain date in time for the complete model. So you don't have to work with backups. It's something that can be done in the settings. And you can say, okay, I want my history, show the history, and it shows you all the updates that have been done. And it's possible to change back to a certain point in time. So here we can see that we changed the number of cartons based on breakback functionality, but also based on the manual input. If we want to get rid of all these updates, we could say put the model back to this certain moment in time. And all the data will be restored until that moment of time. So to go back to the volumes, the breakback functionality enables planning by exception. So updating the forecast based on high-level adjustments by saying, okay, we think the volume for a certain brand will increase because we are sponsoring the World Championships, but also to plan exceptions on a detailed level. If we go back to the dashboard, it's a combined overview of volumes in the top, and also an aggregated P&L is available. In this dashboard, it's possible to update the price of a certain SKU on an aggregated level. So if we assume that a certain beer has to increase in price for all the customers that are available, we can do that also on an aggregated level. And another thing that you can see over here is that the different panes within the dashboard are interconnected. So if we select soda, the graph is updated, but also the aggregated P&L is updated. If we look, for example, at Zep beer, we can see that after the price increase in the Netherlands for 10%, the forecast is on almost 3.7 million on gross sales. If we update this to, for example, 100%, we will see that the forecast is almost doubled. And this means that the reason why it isn't exactly doubled is because the actual months are not updated based on this price adjustment, and only the forecast months are updated. So if we look at Zep beer, we can see that this change is calculated immediately, and it's not calculated only on this level of detail, but on all levels of detail. So on SKU level and customer level, the full P&L is recalculated on the fly. The model also allows for price adjustment on a more detailed level. So if we go to detailed pricing, we have to select one of the beers because we want to change something on a detailed level for a certain customer. And then we can see the impact of the different items. So first we started with the number of cartons, the sales price of last year we want to show. So in this case it was 24.27. It's a bit unrealistic, but it's an example. And we can see the impact of the central adjustment. And the central adjustment was the 100% increase. If we change it back to 10%, we will see that the central adjustment is updated immediately. And if we go to... And also the impact of the local adjustments are shown immediately in the overview. But at this moment I can see that I cannot make a manual adjustment. If I want to change this, I can change this on the fly. I have to go to the overview where the prices are defined. I will go to this module and I can add this line on the fly. So here we can see the different lines and the different calculations that are applicable for the lines. And I can say, okay, below the local adjustment, I want to add one line item, which is manual input, to add price increases on a period level or just a price increase for a product and a customer. At this moment we see that manual input is empty and we want to make sure that the total price also reflects the manual input. We just do it by opening the line, saying plus, select manual input, update the formula and see that the formula is updated. We also copy the formatting. And another item that's very easy in Anaplan is that if we want to change, for example, the name of a certain member, not a local adjustment, but a SKU group adjustment. And the local adjustment was already taken into account in the formula. If we update it, the formula is updated immediately. So here we can see that a change of the name doesn't impact or doesn't have any impact on the maintenance, because in the rules but also in the overviews we will see that everything is updated automatically. If we go back to the detailed prices overview, we see now that there's a manual input line and we could say, okay, in this month, in July, we will have an update of 12 cents and the price is recalculated based on this update. And another important component to calculate gross margin is to calculate the cost of goods sold. In this model, the cost of goods sold are based on a recipe or a bill of material, the volume and the material prices. A recipe or bill of material is maintained in the ERP system and can be used in the planning model to calculate the volumes needed per material and to calculate the cost of goods sold. In this overview we have the bill of material, we have the overview on the impact on the gross margin and the material cost, and at the bottom we have the material prices. In this dashboard it's possible to upload the hectoliter per carton and the recipe per product. To show you that it works and how it works, I will first delete some data. Delete the data. At this moment we already see a small impact on the material cost. And then we say load recipes. At this moment there's a pop-up and it asks which version do you want to load the recipes for, and I say the forecast. At this moment about 6,000 cells are uploaded and the model is updated again. So you can make action buttons within your dashboards to allow people to upload data that's available on the server or in a file, etc. If we now want to see the impact of a price change of, for example, malt, if we look here, the material cost for Zep beer on a brand level are 352,000 euros. If we change the price, for example, malt to 1 euro instead of 0.3 cents, we will see an immediate impact again on the P&L. The P&L is recalculated again on SKU level based on this material price increase. Now, the price is not really realistic, so we put it back to a lower level. If we go back to the Home tab, there's another component that of the P&L that involve often a huge amount of volume of data, and that are the selling conditions on an SKU and a customer level. These are typical items to include in fact-based planning because it's a lot of data and it's error prone to do this data, to load this data or enter this data manually. In the transactional system, most selling conditions are maintained. So it's available on a detailed level, often a combination of customer and product, and it involves a lot of data. Loading the data is quite straightforward. So if we go to data, this is another way of loading the data, and we say import the data. We can select a new file. At this moment, the data is structured in such a way that Anaplan can read it, and we can first see a preview of the data that will be loaded. The next step gives you the possibility to map the data to the dimensions you have in your model and to the items you want to have. In this case, we see that the first column is filled with customer and will target to the customers within the Anaplan model. The fourth column is the SKU code. The second column is the version, but in this case we don't want the version to be predefined. We want to ask, having asked that it's which version we should load the data to every time we load the data. And then column 1 is the line item column. And here we can see that the data volumes are in column 5. If we want to update it, it's possible, but in this case, based on the column heading, it's quite obvious for Anaplan how it should be mapped. Anaplan maps items if it's possible to map them, but sometimes there are some exceptions. For example, here the deal percentage is not exactly mapped to one of the members within Anaplan, and then it's possible to map these items manually. So you can say deal percentage should be mapped to deals with the percentage sign, and then the mapping is complete. Now we can run the import. Again, the system will ask to which version do I want to load it, to the forecast. And now the data is uploaded to the system. As you can see, a huge amount of data is loaded and maintained in the system at once. One of the last steps from the demo, if we go to the total P&L, it shows you exactly how the formulas have been built up. So within Anaplan, people can see how the value gets there. In this case, it says number of cartons times sales price will result in the gross sales. And then all other items are also available to calculate within the P&L. Within Anaplan, it's possible for the users to pivot, so to change the overview or the view of the model. If we go to gross margin for the gross sales, we have more data, and it's also easy to change the version that you want to look at. There's also some break back or drill through functionality, so you can select the cell and see where the data comes from which level of the information. So this enables fact-finding within the model for the users. The last feature I wanted to show you within Anaplan is the model map. And this overview shows all components within the model and the relationships with other components. So it gives you a graphical overview how items are built up and how they are interrelated. And it also it gives the possibility to click on one of the items and go directly to the module where they are modeled. I hope the demo gave you insight in how to use fact-based planning and the functionality within Anaplan to support this way of working. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. final goal of planning driven by facts is to support the company to take the right business decisions, even in an increasingly volatile environment. The advantages of fact-based planning are improved forecast quality with less effort and more impact, scenario planning and analysis capabilities to support decision-making in a dynamic environment and on different levels, the automated reuse of available data, so no manual work on non-value adding activities, more focus on the items that impact the business most, less politics and less sandbagging, since the planning process is based on integrated information, so there's a direct link between volumes and cost, increased involvement and responsibility, since people are asked questions in their field of expertise instead of fulfilling the demand for data to satisfy the needs of the corporate office, for example, increased flexibility, and a direct link between operational, business and strategic level improves the data integrity. During this presentation, we saw some examples of benefits of integrating fact-based information in the planning and forecasting cycle. There are multiple ways to achieve these benefits, depending on the company's needs. So we are almost at the end of our presentation, and I wanted to see if there are any questions at this moment. Okay, one question came in. Does Anaplan also support cost allocation? Yeah. If you look at Anaplan, it's very flexible. It's a flexible modeling tool that also supports complex allocations and calculations. And in fact, we are developing a cost-to-serve model within Anaplan at this moment. And we want to reuse the information that we get from this cost allocation model in an integrated planning model. So we want to go a next step to integrate costing information in our model. One other question, is Anaplan also fit for smaller organizations? Yeah, since Anaplan is a cloud-based solution, an organization doesn't need to invest in hardware or the technical skills to maintain the system. So especially for smaller organizations, this is also a benefit. Next to that, Anaplan is very intuitive, so it's easy to learn how to develop and to update the models. So the business or finance people can be in control themselves. So there's less need to involve consultants or IT for each and every change. And yeah, it helps also smaller organizations in their modeling and planning capabilities. And the last questions, can Anaplan use any kind of data next to SAP? Yeah, there is a data integrator within Anaplan which can connect to certain databases, but also all data available in Excel or text format can be used really easily. Okay. Okay, I think we almost have to stop. Okay, thank you very much for the questions. That was really nice. I hope the presentation gave you some new ideas on how to improve your processes within your company and benefit from improved predictability. There are also quite some consulting parties on the call, so I hope that the webinar was also interesting for them. And your feedback is more than welcome. And this webinar is just a short introduction of the concepts we believe in. And we realize that implementing integrated business planning is often a complex process. So if you have any questions on this or related topics, please don't hesitate to contact me. And we are more than willing to share our experience with you. Thank you for joining this webinar.